But for now, let's discuss the market setup with Dean Kim, Head of Global Research Product at William O'Neill. Dean, great to have you with us as always. So this Indian market has digested a lot of news flow, and the indices are actually not too far away from the all-time highs. The only problem is that banks are failing to fire up. I mean, despite everything, Bank Nifty is still stuck in a range close to the highs. What do you make of the setup over here, and what areas of this market would you be interested in buying into?
Yeah, actually, when I look at public sector banks, after, the bit of volatility last week, they have come back fairly strongly. And a lot of the public sector banks are setting up, such as Federal Bank, State Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra. And on the flip side, private banks, yeah, they still need a bit of work to do. But the good news is if I look at, for example, HDFC, is sort of setting up on the right side of the base. Still too early. I think we need to cross 1600 for the idea to work. There's a gap between 1600 to 1700, and if we can get above 1600, probably we'll close that gap fairly quickly. But relative strength is still weak. But I think we just have to keep an eye on it. One thing that's preventing private sector banks from performing, in my opinion, is I continue to look at Indian yield curve, still flattish, hasn't changed all that much. So want to see that kind of steepen, and I think that would be the clue for particularly foreign investors to start looking at private sector banks. But within that, I think ICICI is the best one amongst private sector banks, but HDFC is certainly setting up.
All right. Hi, Dean. Good morning and good to see you, Ben. What do you make of all the data that we're getting in from the United States? There is some softer inflation data that we've got. A couple of prints as well. Other economic data has been a little softish, and we're hoping for that because from the equity market perspective, you want to see the Fed go ahead and cut some rates. How many are you penciling in? And what's the view on the mother market first, the levels that you're looking at?
Yeah, in terms of the levels, we are at all-time highs, both S&P and NASDAQ. And the recent move has been on the back of, cooler CPI print. So CPI came in at 3.3% versus 3.4% the month before. So we are definitely seeing signs of cooling inflation, particularly if we look at PPI print that just came out this morning. It was negative 20 basis points month over month. So that is an indication that we are on a good path towards slowing inflation. And now on the other hand, the jobs market continues to hold up fairly well, and that's one of the things that the Fed look for. But job market is still strong, and as well as the PCE, private consumption expenditure data last month, that came in fairly hot. So we are getting a bit of data points all over the place, but the Fed did come out and sort of signal that they are going to be cutting towards the end of the year. They backed away from 3 cuts. The market is now expecting 1 cut, but nevertheless, that's on the right trajectory in terms of rate cuts, particularly in 2025. But in the meantime, the market is performing very, very well on the back of, fairly robust, Q2 earnings, particularly from the tech sector. Large stock like NVIDIA blow out numbers. The AI theme is very strong in the U.S. So those are the things that's sort of driving the market at the moment, coupled with the fact the anticipation of a rate cut. So we'll see what happens when the Fed actually cuts the rates. We may see some volatility then, but for now, certainly the market is, anticipating, solid market performance heading into the second half.
Got that. Let's get back to India then. Even as we're seeing, markets consolidate at higher levels, near record highs for the frontline indices, broader markets continue to do well. Are there any particular themes, names that you like in the mid-cap end of things?
Yeah, it's interesting. We are seeing some, agriculture-related names popping up, such as You got TVS Motor that's catered to two-wheelers, Ultratech Cement, Danica Agritech, names like that. And certainly Cap Equipment continues to dominate the space. AEC International, Elecon Engineering, Grindwell, Norton. Then some consumer names are popping up: Minda, Bajaj Auto, as well as Varden Textiles. So I am noticing a lot of names, despite all-time high in the market. A lot of names are setting up quite well. So that leads me to believe, along with the fact that the RSI is cooling, at the same time the market is making new highs. Very stable market and a very constructive market.
Okay, interesting. Dean, finally, before we let you go, any thoughts on PSUs here in India? So much volatility, right? But these stocks are what? I mean, despite everything, they're still maybe just 4-5% off the all-time highs. What do you make of the PSU index or any of the PSU stock charts you may have looked at?
Yeah, if you're referring to public sector names, I only look at the banks, but at the moment, so certainly I'm keeping a close eye on the banks. I think those are opportunities. Some of them are setting up to break out from stage 1 basis, which is what we like. Besides that, I think agriculture-related names are starting to perform.
All right, got it. Very helpful conversation, Dean. Thank you very much for being with us. You have a good day, and we look forward to connecting again soon.